Hello my pretties. Due to some unforeseen circumstances and technical difficulties, I have been off for the past 2 weeks. So the witch is back. We're getting back into it. I have been experiencing some burnout lately. Not specific to work or content creation or witchcraft, but just general burnout, which landed kind of in a timely way around when this occulty tag has been going around. I'll tag the creators below who started it. Basically, they have created a bunch of great prompts and questions to ask yourself or to ask your community, questions about like witchcraft and social media, witchcraft and imposter syndrome, witchcraft and scammers, a bunch of different things that are kind of affecting the occult community as a whole, pros and cons of the internet and how it's impacted the communities. There's more to it than that, and there have been some really amazing conversations there. I just kind of wanted to expand on that on my own since I have been experiencing generalized burnout anyways. So for today's video, I thought to keep me from experiencing too much too soon internet burnout on top of everything else, we'll keep it cozy, we'll have a nice little tea together, and we'll have a cozy chat. So grab yourself a drink or a snack and let's get to it. Part of the discussion that I think first resonated with me was this conversation of like imposter syndrome and are we all just faking being witches, or are we all just doing it for the aesthetic? That sort of thing has always hits harder when I am in these like burnout modes, because when I get generally burnt out or when I get like any sort of like too busy or too distracted with other things, that I kind of step back from my practice, which is totally normal. Like the moon phase, our practice in anything will wax and wane in how much and how into it we are, and that is totally natural, it's totally normal. But one of the things that has been great about this occulty tag is that so many other people have also come forward and said, oh yeah, I experience imposter syndrome all the time. And I think it's also very prominent with people who post about their practice online, because there's this inherent idea that because we're creating content about it, people think that we think we're experts. I do not by any means think that I am an expert. I'm really just sharing my personal experience and how I do things and how other people could possibly do things as like a shooting off point, because not everyone has like a coven or family or friends that they can turn to talk about things. So I just thought it would be cool to create kind of a space for ideas, a space for people to work off of, because that's what I was looking for. And there are so many great creators out there now that I wish had been around when I was a little baby witch. But it has been very refreshing to see a lot of other creators that I follow, a lot of people talking about this and saying that they experienced the same thing. And that has been comforting. I think that openly talking about things like that help people realize that they're not alone. Like when you think that you're the only one, then you start going into this I'm a fraud kind of mode, which is ridiculous because you know your practice, you know your experience. Most of my experience and practice is actually not online. And if yours is, that's also still totally valid. It doesn't devalidate it, but as long as it means something to you, it resonates to you, then you're not an imposter. I think it's just a normal thing that a lot of us go through, especially in the age of social media. Experiencing imposter syndrome is not isolated to just the witchcraft community. I have been a graphic designer for like 10 years, and every single time I get a new job, I panic and I think, oh my gosh, I'm not qualified for this. Why did I think that I could do this job? So this is something that people are going to experience in a lot of different fields in a lot of different ways. Another thing about getting imposter syndrome as like a witchy creator, Oftentimes I will watch other people's videos and think, oh, they did it so much better than I could, so I should not even bother posting a video about that. So for a while I kind of had to stop watching other people's content because I was sort of judging my own based off of it and going, well, why bother? And I had to grow from that. I had to learn that we all have different takes, we all have different practices, and it's great to watch creators who have varying different practices from your own or from each other, so that you can have like a broad spectrum of what possibilities are out there, so that you can learn more about what possibilities resonate the most with you. If you've been holding back from like a dream witchy content creation because you think that other creators are covering it and yours is not going to be valid, I'm giving you 100% permission. Start your channel now. It's time for you. It's your time, baby. When I think about being a witch on the internet, I feel like the conversation really sounds similar to America Ferrera's speech in the Barbie movie about being a woman. If you in the witch community post educational content or informative or here's how I'm doing a thing, then people will tell you that you shouldn't be doing that and people should have to do their own research. But then if you don't tell them how to do a thing, then you're gatekeeping. If you post too much about your practice, then people think that you're fake. If you don't post about it at all, people think that you're fake. If you fall underneath of like a beautiful witch aesthetic, then people think that you're just in it for the aesthetic. But if you don't have like a beautiful collection of tools and crystals and everything, then people think that you're not valid. As a witch, magic or spell work can be done to increase career opportunities or abundance, but if you try to monetize your practice with an online presence, then you're just in it for the money. Nothing that you do or post on the internet is going to please everybody. People will more quickly tear down others so that they can validate their experience before trying to evaluate why other people's experience makes them so unhappy. And there's a very weird line that we all have to walk ourselves, right? We need to be willing to grow and accept when, we need to change things or when we need to shift the way that we're doing something, especially when it comes to decolonizing the craft and respecting cultures or being respectful to, anybody else in the craft. But there also is this other side of it where we need to be strong enough that people who leave us nasty comments on our Instagram reels don't affect us. We have to be strong enough to be like, I know that what I'm doing is correct, but also open enough that when a conversation starts, we can be, reasonable about it. We can be like, oh, that's something that I've learned or something that I've grown from, or I need to do more research about where this practice comes from and make sure that I am giving it the due diligence, giving it the respect that it deserves. There has been a lot of discussion on the aesthetics thing of it. I think that yes, there is kind of a generalized witch aesthetic that people like, but even under that, there are so many different witch aesthetics. Pastels witchcraft, there's forest bones witchcraft, there's bright, vibrant, the love witch, tarot card motif witchcraft. They're even under the witch aesthetic, there are so many different ones, and not fitting into any of those does not make you any less of a witch. And fitting perfectly into one of those does not make you any less of a witch either. A lot of people are attracted to that aesthetic because they like the tools, they like the vibe, they like the magical immersion. Obviously, I am a person that likes to surround myself with things that make a vibe, make a space. That is really just a part of creating an energy, but that's not going to be the same for everybody. I know of plenty of people who are minimalist who, you wouldn't know that they're witchy folk if you looked at their house. I'm sure that there are going to be some people who are like, well, I've never doubted myself, which I think that's great. I love that. If you are someone who is like me, who has anxiety, who's been having these thoughts, who's, scrolling through other people's social media and are like, oh, I don't have this or I don't do that. If you are going through any of those thoughts yourself, you're not alone. We're okay. We're valid. we can all hang out together and in our little anxiety circle and reassure each other. I recently got a comment on like one of my dumb TikToks, I think, about how witchcraft is a serious religion and I need to respect it, which first, it is not a religion. I mean, yes, it's under a spiritual umbrella, but Wicca is a religion, heathenry, Hellenism, Christianity, those are religions, and witchcraft could be tied to any of those things. Witchcraft is a secular experience that atheists could have. Yes, it is something that should be respected, but I just thought the comment was so wild because I am a witch and I do take it seriously. I take it more seriously than I do most things in my life, which also I always sort of have like a playful spin on. And it was just wild to get like you need to take it seriously. And I'm like, okay, thanks, mind your business. I don't really know if this is going to be really insightful, helpful stuff. Again, there have been so many great conversations that have been brought up. One I didn't touch on is the scammers trying to like make money off of it. Of course, that's a problem. I think though that is a problem in anything online right now. So it's a thing that's happening in the witch community, but I think that in general, it's really important to be self-aware of what kind of scams people could run. Don't just like Venmo somebody because they're saying they want to do a reading for you. I feel like those are becoming new like street smarts. It's internet smarts. Most of us are becoming more aware of them and we can identify them. And that's kind of the best we can do right now until there could be some way to actually like get people blocked on certain social medias if they are like offenders of that. I am slowly starting to get back into my regular practice and routines. It's been a little hard for me to get back to it this time, but I'm trying to push myself because I know that eventually it will make me feel better to get back into those, fully be in witch mode again. I have a video about returning to magic that I posted a few years ago. It's really hard for me to watch again because it was the video that I made right after my cat died, and something about it just like triggers something in me. It's gonna make me cry again if thinking about it. But I am following a lot of the same routine to try to get back into a lot of my regular practice. I've maintained some of it this time around. I think that also it being winter, I definitely went into hibernation mode pretty hard. And now that it's warming up, spring is around the corner, starting to become more active in general. And my practice is a part of that. So ultimately, you're not alone. We're all in this together. Support your fellow witches. Be kind to each other. I know this video is not really a direct response to the prompts that the occulty people ask. If anything in this video resonated with you, or it was just comforting to hear somebody else talk about it, please consider giving me a little thumbs up. I hate asking for it, but it actually really does make a big difference for me. Not only does it help, my algorithm, so I'm not just being like hidden in a dark corner of YouTube, but it also just makes me know that you, my viewers, my subscribers, are actually enjoying my content. Helps me keep going and keep posting new stuff and have a better idea of what stuff to post in the future. If you have not subscribed already, I'm going to be doing another deity series video next week, and I've got some more ideas and plans for future content, so I would love to have you join me for that. That's pretty much the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.